Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. In the previous session we saw that one who follows the teachings of Vedanta realizes that he is not the doer of any action. As a practice, he will be watchful of his thoughts, feelings, actions and reactions that emerge from his body, mind and intellect. Gurudev had said that this chart of BMI is very important for us to understand and follow because it pretty much explains the Vedantic vision. So a person who thus recognizes that he is not the doer, since he does not own his action, he doesn't own the results of actions as well. He is compared to the water drop on a lotus leaf that remains unattached. That is a most beautiful example that we can think of, that a person who is living in this world engaging in action as though from the standpoint of everybody else, but he remains totally unattached from his actions as well as result of action. Just like the lotus leaf remains in the water, and the water that is there on the leaf is not attached to anything. Even the lotus leaf is not attached to the water. It floats but never drowns. So his engagement in the world is only for purifying his mind by removing all attachments in and through all activities that he will undertake. So a person of this knowledge is not a person who is unproductive existence. He is not living in solitude or away from the world. He is pretty much part and parcel of everyday activity, but he would do so not to gain anything but to purify his mind, because he does not have anything to gain out of it. Because he joyfully stays in the nine-gated body as a witness, knowing himself as non-doer, allowing the body, senses and the mind to respond to the world. As we saw, the 9 gates, 9 apertures of the body, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, mouth, anus and the reproductive organ. This is called a 9-gated city in which the king, the self, is remaining as a witness, all activities going on. And a man of realization is one who joyfully stays in this 9-gated body. Since he does not depend on anything outside of himself for his happiness, his mind is peaceful and calm, which helps him go deep within during the practice of meditation. It is not avoidance of the world, avoidance of experiences. It is mind has become very quiet and calm because of his knowledge that he is not engaging in any action. It is the body and the senses doing what their nature is, their own field of activity they are busy with. Mind continues to think, eyes continues to see, ears, nose, tongue, skin and body engages in various activities. Now continuing on this chapter 5 further, a question may arise in a person who is thinking that no rational person in this world ever thinks someone is doing my action and not me. Will it not be weird if I feel someone other than me is doing actions through me? Is it that there are two people here within me? One is me, the non-doer, and there is another one who is a doer. It is beautifully explained in one of the Upanishads that there are two birds in the same tree. One is busily eating many fruits from the tree. Some of them are bitter, some of them are tasty. Whenever it eats a tasty fruit, it looks at the other one who is not eating. Hey, you are missing something which is very tasty here. And at the same time, when it starts eating something very bitter, it regrets that it started eating and looks at the other one which is quite calm. So it is explained in that very in Upanishad that one is the Ishvara, the Lord, who is not the doer, and the other one is the Jiva, the ego, who is the doer, the engaging in action. Both of them are in the same place. But then, is it true that there are two people in me? That one is doing the action, another one is not? So to answer this question, so here it is, true that there is something else is going on, but it is equally true that even many bodily functions that are automated without your conscious involvement, such as breathing, digestion, blood circulation, and so on. So these are all going on in us. Can there be an action without an actor? So who does this function in you if it is not you? So when we had a wonderful food, dinner or lunch, after that when we continue to do our various other activities of the daily life, or after the dinner when you go to sleep, is it not the digestion and blood circulation and other things, they go on, even breathing? So is it with consciousness are you breathing? Are you consciously digesting the food or circulating the blood? No. So is it not those activities going on without you consciously doing anything? Yes, it is true. So how do you account that? So it is body is doing its function and perhaps brain is directing it. I understand that it is not the conscious me who is directing. They happen in my presence when I'm alive. So indirectly it happens because of me. That can be the answer to the question, that body is doing those activities per the instruction from the brain. And the brain also functions only when I'm alive. In a dead person, none of these things will happen. The digestion will not take place, breathing is not going on, no blood circulation. So one may say that indirectly my presence is what is making me the conscious living one, is the one in whose presence all these are all happening. Right? That is true. So the Lord also explains this by saying that the self neither acts nor directs anything to do. It is the swabhava, nature of the matter, to engage in respective fields such as seeing, hearing, and so on. And this is what is termed as Maya. It functions in the presence of the self, yet the self is not involved in what happens. This is very evident when you are in the state of sleep. While we are continuing to engage in this state of sleep where we are not doing anything else other than sleeping, but so many activities that are going on in our body. Who is that who is doing this? What is that which makes all the activities go on? So in the presence of the self, what we call it as a life for our present understanding, in the presence of the self, the body, the mind, the intellect, and all other things of our personality is engaging in many activities. So there are two things. One is you, the self. Another one is the Maya, which is acting at the power of Maya, that is acting within us as the engagement of the matter with the world outside. So one thing more you should know, this very self which is within us, in whose presence we are all alive, is also worshipped as God or the altar, and that neither accepts anybody's merit or sin. It is uninvolved in what actions that you do, what kind of actions that you do. It is not at all involved. Even if you are doing something very sinful, the very self within you is a witness to that, as well as when you do something meritorious. So papa and punya, or the sinful actions or meritorious actions which the body engages in, which the mind thinks and judges it as good and bad, right or wrong. In all these various activities, the self, the Paramatman, the self within you, is uninvolved. This is an interesting statement from the Lord, saying that Bhagavan or the Lord or the self is not at all involved in what you do good and what you do bad. This is unique to Hinduism, Hindu philosophy, because all other religions talk about, oh, God will appreciate when you do the right thing and will give you all the various meritorious things, and when you are doing something wrong, He will punish you for the sin. And that is the nature of God, to punish you if you are doing sinful thing, and He will appreciate and grant you boons when you're doing the right thing. So if that is the case, a person will have a very serious doubt here. Then what about all the various religious documents that prescribe rituals that give us merits, punya, and instruct us to avoid sinful papa actions? They are for whom, if not for me? Who will experience the result of good and bad actions? So this is where the teachings becomes very subtle. Neither good actions nor bad actions are directed by the self. It is not participated by the self, and the self is not even the recipient of the result of that. Then you see various Puranas, Dharma Shastras, like Itihasas like Sri Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, and so many different documents in Hinduism itself. They all talk about how good actions will lead you to heaven, bad actions will make you go to hell, punish your for the bad actions that you have done, you will be punished. All those statements that are given here, as well as in the Vedas themselves, what are the good things that you should do, what are the rituals that you need to perform, daily activities of goodness, daily activities of religion, rituals, chanting the mantras of the Lord, worshipping the Lord, doing charity, all those things that are given as religiously meritorious actions, they are not considered by Vedanta as, please make note, they are not considered by Vedanta as relevant to self-knowledge. They are necessary for purifying the mind. So the answer to this question is, let us say that you are hungry and searching for food in a deserted land where there is not even water. You are bound to suffer the pangs of hunger and thirst. All these you experienced in your dream yesterday night. And when you woke up from that dreadful dream, did you still feel hungry, thirsty, and tired? You didn't. Lord Krishna says that in the realm of ignorance, which is similar to that of the dream, we are bound to identify with our body, mind, intellect, and their functions, and also suffer the result of such actions. There is definitely no escape from it. All sinful, that is papa actions, will give you dreadful results, and all meritorious punya actions will give you desirable results in that realm. So, as long as we live in the realm of ignorance, which is identified with body functions, the senses, the mind, the thoughts, the feeling, the emotions, ideas, opinions, prejudices, likes, dislikes, in this realm of ignorance in which most of us are at all times, definitely there is these two divisions, papa and punya, bad action and good action. And yes, so long as we identify with those things, there will be result and we will be experiencing it. There is no doubt about that. So the next question would be, you mean the scriptures that talk about heaven for the righteous and hell for the sinners are not true? If that is not true, then there will be a major problem here. What do the religions do? The religions are keeping their congregation, believers, followers busy by the teachings of what are the things that can make one go to heaven and what are those which make one suffer in the hell. For those who live in the state of ignorance, all these are true. desires, actions, results, and experience of results. It is similar to the mind of a young child that feels that the toy that she plays with are real and inevitable for her daily quota of pleasure in playing with them. There is no qualm about it in Vedanta. Krishna makes it very clear that those who are still in the realm of ignorance, thinking that I will do such and such ritual and I will go to heaven, are the people who are still in the realm of like infant children, who play with the toys and they give reality to those toys and play with them for the sake of pleasure. And until they grow out of it, they feel so connected and attached to those things. The toys are unreal. They do not have life. They do not have any reality. But then, in the mind of a child, the world of the child is only about that. It is busy with that, no doubt. In the same way, in the realm of ignorance, where one is not aware of his higher nature, higher awareness, he is busy with doing what the body wants or body needs and what the mind feels like doing. And thus, we are continuously engaged in the realm of ignorance, and we feel important about taking the BMI for real and satiating their needs. Then, don't you think people will lose interest in pursuing the path of punya if they know it is not real? So this philosophy that you are talking about, any person would ask Krishna, or Arjuna himself would have been thinking, what you are talking about as papa and punya, or the hell and the heaven are all unreal, then nobody would do the right thing. Why should they, if there is not going to be any result out of it? Sure, they do. That they won't follow the punya path, the path of merit, they won't follow. But then they should equally refrain from the path of papa also on the same count. Don't worry, it is not that easy. Many lives we have lived, strongly identified with the BMI, and it would not go away by hearing this as an intellectual theory. Religions of all over the world have been emphasizing on virtuous path as they live in this world, as the way to live in this world, for one good reason: make humans not to destroy each other and the world. So religions do talk about doing the good. It is not just for the sake of going to heaven, but for the sake of helping each other to survive and make this world a happy place to live. So when we are giving reality to this world of experiences in us, it is better to do what is right than what is wrong. And therefore religion at the level of ignorance would continuously engage in teaching what is good thing to do. So like for example, don't covet or become greedy about others' wealth, don't steal, don't tell lie, don't be harmful, don't kill yourself, and many other things. These are all the common standard statements made by every religion. So, but when it comes to philosophy, we must understand we are treating, or we are engaging in a different level of awareness. So in the absence of religious injunctions, there will be only chaos and no accountability for one's unethical and immoral behavior. Therefore, exception is only for the one who has the intensive desire to lift oneself forever from the realm of ignorance with the help of self-knowledge. So it is not meant for all. Definitely Krishna would not say that it is meant for everybody. No, not everybody is qualified to do these things. So when religion talks about good and bad, right and wrong, it is true, it is necessary for most people. But only exception is for those who are ready for a higher thinking. So by self-knowledge, when one wakes up from the beginningless ignorance, the self shines like the sun, very clearly, like in a cloudless sky. Therefore, tesham adityavat, like that of the sun, prakashayati, it is going to shine like the sun. So it is to say that a person of self-knowledge, one who has woken up from the beginningless ignorance, just like a person who woke up from a dream, will no more consider whatever experience in the dream as real, though experienced. In the same way, the one who has woken up from this ignorance will understand the relevance of the religious injunctions of good and bad, etc. It is necessary for all the people who are still in that state, but not for himself. This does not mean a man of such knowledge will not engage in good actions in this world. He will stand as an example for all others to follow. And also, he will not become arrogant to say that, oh, all these are all useless. He will have sympathy for all those people who are engaging in those activities, encourage them, make them do, until maybe one rare person is ready to walk out of that realm and come to understand the self-knowledge. So therefore, Krishna would deal with both what is the right thing to do at any given situation and also how to look beyond that. Unfortunately, to keep the people in the meritorious path, religions instill fear of hell and punishments as the result of sin. Therefore, many who do good actions do so due to fear of hell and not out of love of God or compassion for the humanity. Even among many of our own people in whom you deal with, they say, oh, I go to that particular Mahatma or the saint so that I get some punya, or I will go to the temple and do some puja and chant some mantras and get them prasad, and that will give me so much punya. And they perform various rituals, festivities and charities and fasting and feasting. All these are all at the realm of ignorance, according to Krishna. These are all meant for those people who never ask questions. These for those people who consider that hell is real, heaven is real, papa and punya, good and bad actions are real, and not for the one who has started inquiring into the nature of the self, which is actionless. And therefore he says, Sri Krishna says here, when the intellect is fully absorbed in the self, abiding in that as the goal, they reach it since their dirt of misunderstanding has been removed. The misunderstanding is that I am BMI. That is a misunderstanding. I am the body, mind, intellect. This misunderstanding having been removed, what remains is the faultless, pure, immaculate self, and that alone am I. In this abidance of the self, a person reaches the highest goal. So how does a person wake up from this realm of ignorance? That is the next question, obviously, anybody would ask. If one has to come out of this misunderstanding that I am the body, mind, intellect, what is the method of coming out of it? So answer to that is, the practice of knowledge is this: constant remembrance of the self which is the same in all. Keeping the intellect forever alert about this and consciously avoiding the habitual slip into perceiving differences while interacting with the world. Because with the body, etc., we only see differences. With the body, I'm seeing only many bodies which are different from me. With my mind and its emotions, I only see different emotions and feelings. With my intellect, with that identification, I see others' thoughts, others' opinions, others' prejudices, others' likes and dislikes. So only when I go beyond the realm of body, mind, intellect, then alone I can see the oneness. So the practice or sadhana prescribed by Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita chapter 5 is constant remembrance of the self which is same in all. What is in me is what is in everyone. What is in me as the self, the pure presence because of which everything is happening, is the same presence in all beings because of which the whole world is functioning. He will look at the entire creation with the vision of equanimity. For him, every living being, human, animals, birds, insects, even the plants are the same self which he is. This equal vision is the spiritual vision of Vedanta that removes all barriers of caste, color, race, creed, gender, status, faith and beliefs. Such a one is a living saint God on earth. This is the unique and universal vision of Vedanta. Upanishads are not meant for any particular religion. They are not talking about religion at all. In fact, they don't talk about any God at all. It is about the universal self which is presiding in all of us, residing in every one of us, presiding over the entire universe. That oneness is to be realized. And it is the same in anyone and everyone you meet, whether it's human or an animal or an insect or even a plant that is growing up in your backyard. It is enjoying, experiencing the same self within. Because of the faculties being limited, it may not realize it. Whereas as a human being with the intellectual discrimination, we will be able to go beyond this and realize the oneness. And that is considered as the one who is reached there is considered as a saint. Such a person will have infinite compassion for everyone, and such a one alone is considered as a saint, God on earth. So the teaching of Bhagavad-Gita is so for universal appeal. It is not meant for, as I said, to a particular belief system. So when one gains this vision of oneness, his entire perception of life will undergo a fundamental change. And that is, he will not be born again. Upon the death of his body, he will forever merge in the omniscient Lord, the all-pervading one, the essence behind the entire universe. Every atom particle in this universe is the brilliant presence of the same self. Nothing else remains other than it. Therefore, he who knows the self during his life on earth will have unconditioned compassion for all of them at all times, because he has discovered that brilliant self within oneself, which is the self which is pulsating as life in all living beings. So there will be no more in him an individual ego, delight about gaining what one wants, depression about losing what one has, success and failure, delusion born of unclear priorities of life, and attachment to objects of the world. This is why a saint is considered to be free, happy, joyful at all times, because absolutely he doesn't see differences. Even though the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, all of them will perceive the different varieties of things, but in his mind there is a constant assertion. Even in the midst of all the differences that I see, there is only one which is pulsating through every one of them. That understanding is so strong and so steadfast in him. Therefore, he will never fall for any delusion in this world. So, as Krishna would say, he alone is truly happy here, who can withstand the force of desire and anger before the fall of the body. So that is to say, that is achievable. We can gain that the complete freedom while living in this very world where you and I are. It is not necessary for one to experience it only after leaving this physical body. It is not something that you experience as a pleasure in the heaven. It is a joyful existence here and now. So how is this possible? So it is said that it is possible for him who has found unending bliss within oneself. And to know himself, he depends only in the inner light shining within himself. He may read the scriptures, he may read the Upanishads, he may read all that the religions and, the Upanishadic or philosophy may teach him. But then, what is that which will guide him from every situation, from situation to situation, from every moment of his life is this clear understanding which is shining as a light within himself. This is called Antarjyoti, inner light. Interestingly, there is a conversation which takes place in one of the compositions of Shankaracharya. He makes this point very beautifully clear. What is this inner light, Antarjyoti, we are talking about? It is an interesting conversation between a guru and a disciple, and where the guru is asking, what is light for you? What do you think as light? So for which the disciple says, during the day it is the sun and during the night it is various lamps. Because only with this light of the sun I can see things. If I have to see many objects out in the world, I cannot see without a light. And during the day it is the sun which sheds the light for me, and during the night are these lamps. Okay, that is good. So to see the sun or the lamps, what do you use? How do you see the sun or how do you see the lamps? So obviously the answer is eyes. If one does not have eyes, obviously one cannot see the objects as well as not the sun. So eyes are the means through which I see whether it is the sun or the lamps. Very good. To see the eyes, what light do you use? How do you know if the eyes are open or closed? See, to see an object, I need a light and the eyes. But if the eyes are closed, how do you know that the eyes are closed? With what light do you know that eyes are closed? For which he answers, the mind. Obviously, through the mind or the thoughts, I know now my eyes are open or my eyes are closed. Okay, good. So to know the mind and thoughts, what light do you use? There are many thoughts that are there: anger, lust, passion, greed, jealousy, compassion, love, forgiveness, sincerity. So many things that are happening in your mind as emotions and feelings, etc. How do you know? With what light? With the eyes, you cannot know the mind. With the object outside, you cannot know the mind. With the sun outside, you cannot know the mind. How do you know your mind? For which he says, I know it because I'm conscious of my thoughts. Oh, so you're conscious of your thoughts. Okay, so that means thoughts can be known by yourself, you the consciousness, correct? So you are the light of consciousness, correct? Yes. Is it a thought? No. Is it a mind? No. Is it eyes? No. Is it sun? No. Is it a lamp? No. Then what is it? Yes, I am. I am the light of consciousness. Okay, to know that you are conscious, do you need anything else? I am. Even in the darkest place, if I ask you, are you there? You say, I am. With what light, with which light you are seeing this? With which light you are able to know that you are? I don't need any light. I don't need my eyes, but I know I am. So this is what is known as, I don't need any other light to know myself. That is the inner light, in whose presence everything else is known. Thou art. I am that. And the teacher says, you are that. Thou art that. That is the inner light which we are talking about. Yes, I could understand what you're saying, that I am the light of consciousness. But I do not have direct experience of it. I still think that I am consciousness. So the answer to that is, yes, you are still thinking. Your understanding of consciousness is only a thought. You and I, at every given moment, we are constantly engaging in this world only in the vehicle of, or with the vehicle of thought. So the questioner would say, or obviously ask, do you mean to say that I should stop thinking? If so, then it is only in the state of sleep when I don't think. When I'm not sleeping, I'm active with my mind, whether it is the waking world where I am engaging with the things and beings in this world through seeing with my eyes, hearing, etc., or in the state of dream where I am still thinking with my mind whatever it projects. So only in the state of sleep I don't. So is it possible for me to realize the consciousness in sleep? And if you are saying with the mind I cannot understand, then during the waking and dream where I am using my mind, I will never realize the nature of consciousness. So the answer to that is, thinking can be stopped. In fact, stopping of thought is called yoga according to ancient scriptures on yoga. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. This is the second sutra in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. That is, no more thinking is the nature of yoga. So know that there is an intimate connection between breathing and thinking. Here is what Lord Krishna says about making the mind still without wavering and bringing it to a grinding halt. So first of all, let us understand the breathing that we do is connected to thinking. And it is often found by everyone who can observe this, that when we are having an agitative, angry thought, the breathing is very fast. When we are calm and peaceful and quiet, our breathing is very rhythmic and slow. So there is an intimate connection. But here Lord Krishna gives us some instructions towards the end of chapter 5 about this. First of all, keep the objects and thoughts about them outside. Because recognize, first of all things that you can perceive through your body and the senses are outside you. In fact, all the memories that you have about the objects and experiences of the past are all other than you. It is subject to be recalled by you, or you can bring them whenever you need and get rid of them whenever you want. This amount of control is necessary as a practice. It is not the objects are demanding our attention. We give attention to them. Whether they are there or not actually should not matter. But since we give importance to them, they become compulsory thinking. Second thing is that maintain your attention in the middle of the two eyebrows by gazing at that point with your eyes closed. This is another important yogic technique to keep your mind not moving here and there. Keep the focus within the or between the eyebrows. In fact, when a person is sleeping, deep sleep where eyes have no movement, but if you are sleeping very shallow, let us say you're dreaming, then there will be eye movement, which is said called REM, rapid eye movement, which is called REM sleep. And non-REM sleep is where you are not dreaming, you are not actively engaging in your mind, but you are in a deep sleep. So to bring that condition in your mind, that you go to the level where thoughts no more disturb you, it is to make your eyes fix in one point, and with your eyes closed, keep your attention within the or in between the eyebrows. This is the second instruction. The third instruction which Krishna gives us is make your outgoing and incoming air, prana and apana, equal. That is, when you are breathing in, that is called prana, and breathing out is called apana. So this breathing in and out will make your mind engage in a very close activity that is going on. Thereby, when you are engaging in just observing, watching your incoming and outgoing breath, your mind is not engaging in anything else. Because in thus preoccupying your mind in the simple activity of observing the inhalation and exhalation, there will be certain amount of reduction in your thought. Also, restrict the movements of the senses and the mind. Thus, by keeping the eyes closed, not consciously engaging in any of the listening or tasting or touching or smelling, in those kind of restrictions of the senses and the mind, also there will be reduction of thought. Keeping liberation as your goal and no other thoughts in your mind. That is to say, I want to get liberated from the conditionings of all these equipments. I want to become free and enjoy my own presence irrespective of what happens to me. If that intensity of wanting liberation is there, obviously there will be no other thought. Get rid of any other desire, fear or anger that arise in your mind. Because of the past memories and past experiences, you may recall something which you may desire or something which is causing you fear or anger. So be aware of that and slowly overcome that. This is the next instruction. So in these 6-step instructions that are given by the Lord, one will be able to become free very quickly, and that is his word of declaration. And also he says, I am the enjoyer of all that daily spiritual activities that you do. I am the enjoyer of as a self when you engage in any of these spiritual activities. I am the Lord of the entire universe and also friend of all beings. Thus a person attains peace by this knowledge about me. By saying so, Krishna is informing us or indicating that I, being a friend of all beings, I am only interested in making you free. It's like your friend is one who is making you happy and come out of any trouble. If a friend is there constantly putting you into trouble, he is not a friend at all. So I am your friend, Sukridam Sarval Bhutanam, he says. I am the closest friend of all beings, and I am there with you, in you, all the time to guide you. So by stopping your movements of the mind with respect to the world, etc., and focusing upon yourself, actually you are coming closer to me. And as you come closer to me, I become more and more friendly to you and more available to you. And knowing me alone, one can truly attain peace. So that is the assurance that is given by the Lord here. And thus, if you are able to make our attempts to calm the mind, quieten the mind, and reduce the thought, what will we eventually realize is the self which is already within us, which is already free and blissful and joyful, and thus we can attain the highest goal of life. So thus we end the chapter 5 here, and we will move on to the next presentation on chapter 6, that is yoga of meditation. Please realize and understand this chapter is a very important chapter. That is, chapter 5 is a very important and crucial step towards spiritual progress, because unless we understand the relevance and the need to practice meditation, we will not be able to practice meditation. It is not just sitting down quietly. It is not that, because the chapter 5 had clearly mentioned that the intention is to realize, intention is to stay by the self, intention is to recognize the actionless, pure presence of consciousness who is a witness to everything that goes on. It is free from all activities of the body, mind, senses, etc. Realizing that alone true freedom is ours. And with this understanding only we should enter into chapter 6, because the yoga of meditation is about practice. And any practice will happen only when you are convinced that the practice is necessary. So chapter 6 will be an elaborate one where all different instructions will be given: how to sit, how to breathe, what to eat, what not to eat, how to sleep, how to act. Is going to be an elaborate description of meditation. So we will see that in the next presentation. Until then, Hari Om. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkhabhat Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.